Hi, I'm Pantazi. Today we're going to give you a free look at something I put on Patreon and the Platinum subscription and the extended videos back in 2019. Now I'm making this public access. Now it's a very important thing, and this shows you the depth that we get into in these extended films as opposed to just the YouTube offerings. Now this was filmed again in 2019, and it was a technique that I had seen on Kill Bill. Also, Steven Seagal did it on a Russian talk show. And it caused, when Seagal hit the guy stood there for a while, walked away, and then fell flat on his face. It was a delayed effect, okay? And this is what the old Demak was, the old delayed death touch, per se. Now, it comes out of a movement called Kakushiken. That's out of Sansei-ryu in Weichi-ryu karate, and many other styles have that blood pool hand or that Kakushiken. Now, in the Sansei-ryu, where I took it from, I got the action that went straight outward and with a slight downward, inward tilt. Now, there are many other applications you could use with this. You could use the Nahanchi Nidan fisted position, although with the rib structures, trying to get in between the rib structures with the fist is going to be a little bit more difficult as opposed to digging in there with just the fingertips. So you are about to see this technique that was done a long time ago, had a delayed effect on the person. Now, I barely tapped the guy because the ultimate goal wasn't obviously to kill them. But you will see, along with the film of Seagal, you'll see an excerpt from Kill Bill. I did slow motion photographs of that taken from the film, and so I wouldn't get copyright strikes. And with the film from Steven Seagal, where he did the actual technique, and you can see the guy fall also, that was not copyrighted, so it's able to be used. So I will be showing you this. So stay tuned, watch this whole film. It's about 15 minutes long, and you'll get to see what extent we get into in the Patreon and the Platinum services. Now, do yourself a favor. If you're going to join Patreon to see this film or many other films, there's 200 and some odd films on there already. Do it at the beginning of this month, because it is at the beginning of each month is when Patreon takes its billing. So add that to your list of things to do, and you will see not only this film that you're going to see here anyway, but 200 and some odd films after that with detail, depth, and stuff you never see on YouTube. Okay, we can see here the outer chest area where Steven Seagal and even Kill Bill applied the strike, and even on the Jackie Chan picture. Now, in Jackie Chan, the guy was reaching down in through here, mainly on this pectoral muscle, and that's because of his angle on the couch, I believe. But he was signifying the attack with the claw or the fingertips, especially, to the area of the chest in here. Now, if we melt away, let's just take the skin all the way away, and we can see that there's a dense covering of muscle. Now, if we fade this muscle away, let's hide this muscle here, you can start to see that the rib structure appears, and you have the high rib, the collarbone here, the collarbone's right up here, excuse me, the high rib, the first rib, the second rib, and the third rib. Now, it's in between the second and third rib that's the attack on Kill Bill, as well as Steven Seagal's application. Now let's take a look a little further. Let's hide this muscle out. And just to give you a general understanding of the area, we'll hide some of these muscles. And you can start to see that the heart appears. Now I've removed the pericardium from the heart, so it's not the sheath that's around that heart. Let's further get rid of all the muscles here so we can get in a little deeper. Now we can start to see that in between those two ribs, the heart lies. And on top of the heart, you have this nerve right in through here. This nerve is the cardiac plexus. Okay, now that cardiac plexus overlies some vascular tissue. You have the intraventricular branch of the coronary artery, the left coronary artery, and you also have the interventricular vein, and it's right over the heart here. Now let's get rid of the skeleton a little bit, and let's get rid of that skeleton and zoom in on the heart right in through here. We can see these structures right in here, and this is where those fingertips are going. Bring back the skeleton. Let's see here. Bring back the skeletons. You can see how you separate in between to get to these sections. Now let's hide this also. Now we'll hide the upper walls of the heart. And you can see these are the valves inside the heart. Now let's bring the heart back in its full thing. Okay, here we see the pericardium. I'll hide that pericardium. And we'll hide this. And you can see this valve right in through here. This is the pulmonary valve. This is where the blood is transferred from the body to gain the oxygen. And you can see that it's underlying that same part of the heart that's being attacked. Now let's get that heart back in good shape and hide the pericardium once again. Let's see here. Let's hide that pericardium. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, now we can start to see that structure can be struck. Now it is pretty deep, as you can see. You're going to have to go in there. Now what's not shown here and what is not understood is most people say, okay, you can't get your fingertips in that deep. You could get a knife in there for sure, maybe the butt end of a stick or another instrument like that. But bringing back the muscles here for a second and getting rid of this top pectoral muscle, you'll start to see this underlying muscle group. Now this muscle group also can be hit. Now if you hit the upper section of the muscles here, you're with enough intensity and sharpness, you're going to make sure that this underlying muscle here is also pushed in. And once that's pushed in, you can see that it could put pressure right on these two vascular tissues in there. And let's zoom a little bit more in there. Let's get this guy going up. You can start to see that we would go right into this important vasculature as well as this this important nerve structure, the cardiac plexus. Okay, and you can put the pressure on there. Now, the reason why the person faded that Steven Seagal attacked was we could see that it was clearly blood. So this artery was impacted. It was sealed off, albeit temporarily. It shifted the man's blood pressure. Not only that, but the coronary or this cardiac plexus was also attacked. And it also, right here, the valves of the heart, you can start to see the valves of the heart are right up in there. Ooh, that's a little close. But you can start to see that these are the valves of the heart, okay, and that they were under attack as well. And let's zoom out a little bit. You can start to see that in between that rib structure, okay, you have all this that's being attacked. This is a intercostal nerve. It's called the lateral pectoral. It comes out of cervical vertebrae number 5 through 7. All right, but that's going to be attacked. This blood vessel here, again, the cardiac plexus, as well as the section of the heart that has the pulmonary trunk. And again, that has to do with the blood flowing in and out of the heart, gaining oxygen and being depleted of oxygen, returning it. So again, we can see that that's a very dangerous area right in through there. And we'll take a further look of an application later on, as mentioned in the film, and we'll bring that to you exclusively here on the Patreon and Platinum sections.
5 point.
Go ahead.
Okay, now there is a movement in the movie Kill Bill, the 5-finger death kill, whatever.
5-point palm exploding heart technique.
That's the one, okay, where she goes in there and she manipulates and then she jabs right in. There's a film on YouTube that you can catch with Steven Seagal. He's in Russia, and he's at this talk show. They're all standing around there talking, and they bring in this Uki, okay? And the guy walks up, and he's kind of nervous, you can tell, okay? And they make him open his jacket, and Steven Seagal's still sitting down. And he starts doing this, and he goes, doom, and he bangs the guy. The guy doesn't do anything, doesn't flinch, doesn't move, doesn't fall, nothing. No expression on his face or anything. He starts walking away, and all of a sudden, right on his face. Okay, he didn't do a slap out. His arms didn't come up to prevent him from falling. So obviously, it was his blood pressure, because it didn't have any immediate effect, but in like 2, 3, 5 seconds, he felt it. Okay. In Weichi-Ryu, Sansei-Ryu, there's a movement this way, and we worked on this Kashu-Shiken. Yeah, that's the way they say it. Kashu-Shiken, the blood pool here. Okay, but they used it more like the snake. All right. So I was looking at the targets on Kill Bill and also the exacting targets on Steven Seagal's, and I slowed it down frame by frame in Seagal's, because the movies, who cares? I mean, they're probably making stuff up, right? And so I saw this, and then I went back to the movie and said, maybe not making it up. Anyway, you couldn't see the hand, because what they did was they cut the film. And you saw the hand coming like this, coming in toward the chest, and then you saw this, and then you saw this. So they cut the exact target out. However, the guy's black shirt had white marks where the fingertips hit. He must have laid down the nap of the sweater or shirt he was wearing, and the lights caught it at the right. You could see the fingerprints clear as day right here. You have the collarbone. You have the first rib, you have the second rib. In between the second and the third rib is where they both attacked, Kill Bill and also the other one, okay? Now, that's a pretty thick gi right there, but I'm going to try it through the gi anyway, okay? And what you're supposed to do is come in with that strike.
Okay.
I feel fine.
Okay.
Now let me take the gi off.
Okay.
As I got a feeling it's blocking.
I've never done this one before, so maybe I got to warm up a little.
I think you pulled back more than you went in.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna kneel down for a second. Just a second.
Why don't you lay down? Oh, okay. Second time the charm. Yeah. Okay, what happened?
Oh man, super dizzy.
Super dizzy. Did you see black or?
Oh, I saw, when you hit me, yeah, I saw a flash of black. And then I started feeling visual.
Okay, so there's a delayed
Yeah,
ramification. Did you get nauseous?
no,
No.
no, I didn't get nauseous, but
Sweaty at all?
sweaty and a little panicky.
Okay.
At that. Of course, it didn't even feel like you hit me that hard.
I tried, but I'm not got. Like I said, this is a new technique for me.
But it hurts,
and,
right? It definitely hurts right here.
And I found it. And if it's in two different things together, but they're in the same location, they talk about the same thing. There's also pictures of other kung fu movies you watch, like Jackie Chan's old movies, where he's coming in with the bop, 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 bop. You see a lot of different strikes there. So we tried. Now I'm going to explain the anatomy in a second. You okay?
Yeah, let's try to see up this.
Well, you don't look good. Ooh, worse than usual.
You okay?
I feel a little better now, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So it passed.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks for taking it. Yeah, the first time I hit right on that stitching
Yeah,
on the
really
gi,
thick.
and it was thick, so I couldn't get through there, I guess. Okay, let me explain, and I'm not going to hit you again, but again, you have the collarbone, you have the first rib tucked right up underneath that collarbone. You got the second rib. In between the second and the third rib is where the nerves come into the heart. Okay, and this was on the heart. And what happens is you got, I forget the name of the vein and the artery that's there, but there's a vein, a nerve, and an artery all right there. Very exposed in between the two ribs. And why this attack needs to be hit, because if I hit with this, I'm probably not going to get deep enough because I'll probably be on the surface of the ribs. So you have to get in there with something a little smaller. I think you can do this with this, and eventually I will get around to practicing that. But if I struck in with this and this, like you see in some of the Wauke movements, okay, in Wei-Chi-Ru they tend to do this hand position rather than the palms. A lot of arts do the palms. They like little bony knuckles. So if I hit in with this, okay, maybe attacking the liver at the same time, that could have a really good ramification.
Every time you touch that, I
Okay.
can feel it. Like,
And that was just a
yeah,
fingertip.
it's just touching it. It's like starting to set it off again.
Yeah, okay, so,
No, that's okay. I just, yeah, it's very sensitive also.
yeah.
You can feel the divot when you just kind of.
Yeah, there's that crease in between the two ribs that you have to get in. And you also have to watch the way the ribs come out. At the sternum, they come out basically straight, but then they start curving upward. Okay, so you have to make sure that your hand is just at a slight angle, and I won't touch. Okay, but you have to make sure the hand isn't perfectly straight. It has to be at a little bit of an angle to mimic that rib and get in between those ribs. So that's the five-finger death, whatever it is. Also, what Steven Seagal did. Also, in Jackie Chan movies, old ones, not the newer ones.
Don't do this at home.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.